Welcome to the SWOCC and Beyond series. Tonight Tara's going to be talking about AHA, inspiration through breath control. I'm Corrine Shoemaker. I'm the Academic Advisor and Student Activities Coordinator here. And I first want to thank Curry County Voices for filming our presentation tonight. We really appreciate that, and he'll tell you about where you can access it after the program. And I also want to let you know about upcoming SWOCC and Beyond events in case any of you, this is your first event. On Tuesdays, we have a lecture series based on a monthly theme. So this month, the theme is complementary medicine, and in February, it is the science of climate change. And I'm sure you saw the flyers out there. On Thursdays, we have a speaker series with a separate topic each week.
And we have those backwards. So Tuesday is a separate topic.
Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Just so they're not confused.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. And now I want to introduce Tara Debbie. Tara teaches yoga for us in Gold Beach on Mondays and Wednesdays. She has been practicing yoga since 1991. In 2011, she began practicing tri-yoga, and the next year she began teaching that. And that's basically what her class is in Gold Beach, is she's teaching tri-yoga. And so she also teaches classes and workshops up and down the southern Oregon coast. And so we want to welcome Tara, and thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So I'm Tara Debbie, yoga teacher on the coast. And the style of yoga that I teach is tri-yoga, which is spelled T-R-I-Y-O-G-A. So it's not like tri-yoga. It's tri as in three or trinity. In tri-yoga, we maintain a base trinity of body, breath, and focus. So throughout a practice, whether it's a breathing practice or an actual physical practice, we are maintaining relaxed body, rhythmical breath, and focused mind the whole time. As long as you're doing those three things together, you're doing yoga. So, title of this little seminar, AHA, Inspiration Through Breath Control. Come on in. So we can find that throughout our day, or sometimes we can have lack of energy, just lack of energy physically, feeling tired, or just feeling disconnected from our bodies. And then there's a lack of energy where we get disconnected from our own thoughts, where maybe we're working on something and then it's like we're in brain lock and we don't have, like the inspiration isn't coming. No creativity there. We're trying to hammer something out, literally hammer something out, and it's just not coming. We can spend hours doing it and nothing comes. What am I talking about? So, yes?
Can you turn it down just a little bit?
Oh, yeah, actually I can turn that off.
It'd be easier to hear you.
There we go. So that lack of energy, the energy and the breath are the same thing. This is in yoga philosophy, that when our breath is shallow, and we often breathe very quickly, around 15 times a minute, very hurried breath, we actually aren't taking in that much energy. And so we don't have energy to feed our body, and the mind starts to lose track as well. So there are practices called prana-vidya practices. Prana-vidya, the knowledge and its application in controlling the flow of prana for greater health and awareness. So by controlling our breath, by using proper breathing techniques to maximize our intake of oxygen, our expiration of carbon dioxide. We increase our energy, and this in turn helps increase our awareness of our physical body and our physical health, and more, which is what I'm talking about today, how breathing practices also help you reach in and find those ideas that are eluding you, and even find new knowledge and wisdom that it just spontaneously comes in like inspiration. So there's two concepts, energy, which is prana, and consciousness, which is chit. So the C is pronounced C-H, chit. So energy exists everywhere, inside and outside the body. Prakriti is the principle of energy and matter. This is written in the Upanishads, yogic text. Purusha is consciousness, and it's that which sleeps in the cities. That's how it describes it. But basically, there's saying a few things, but I'm just going for some very basic understanding that both consciousness and energy occupy the same space. Wherever there's energy, there's consciousness. Wherever there's consciousness, there's energy. So you've heard, and I say a lot, energy, where consciousness goes is where energy flows. If you put your mind on something, that's where you're feeding energy to. So our energies, hi, come on in. So our energies can get out of balance. We feel soreness in our body, but we can bring it back into balance through a systematic approach, which is pranayama, breath control, and also the whole application of yoga practices. But tonight we're just talking about breath. But I will mention a little bit about relaxed body because we're sitting, and after I go through all the yoga philosophy, I'm going to teach you some basic tri-yoga breathing practices, and we'll go through them so you can experience it for yourself. Because, yoga philosophy is wonderful. It's great insight into how the breath can affect our body and mind. But the only way to really understand it is to experience it. Wow, we're really feeling up. So there are three different bodies that yogic texts describe: the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. So we'll start with the physical body, and each body has one or more sheaths in it. So this chart is describing each sheath, which is like a layer. The outermost layer is the physical body. And this layer is called the annamaya kosha. And it's the food body. So it's our physical body. We feed it to give it more energy and to keep it alive. Also to keep it healthy, besides eating a good diet and feeding it good food. We exercise, proper rest, moderation in our activities, moderation in what we eat. Taking care of the physical body keeps it healthy. And of course we do get energy from food, from water, from rest. The next body, the subtle body, coming in here, has these next three sheaths. So the first one, right inside from the physical sheath, is the pranamaya kosha. That's the energetic body, prana. And so it's between the physical body and the manomaya kosha, which is the mental body. And it's the bridge between the two. And it's also where prana is also being synonymous with our breath. When we control our breath, expand, when we control our breath, we take in more energy, we expand our pranamaya kosha, and it will expand into the physical body, giving us physically more energy, helping us feel more vibrant and alive, sometimes also becoming more aware of blockages and ows in our body. But then we have other things. Yes, it's like when you go to a massage therapist, it's like, I wasn't aware of that before. I never heard that before. But then it also expands into these other more subtle layers. So it'll expand into the mental body. The mental body is thought of as like a screen, and all of our experiences, what we take in our five senses, they can get projected on that screen. So all this stuff is happening, but the mental body is just watching it and tracking it. The next layer in, where are we? Vijnanamaya kosha, the intellect or wisdom sheath. So this is the body that brings discernment to what we take in. And it's also where we come up with our brilliant ideas. So as the energy body, which is also your consciousness, expands in to the, through the mental into the intellect, Vijnanamaya kosha, we start becoming aware of the answers we've been seeking, or like, maybe doing that is not really a good idea. We find more information and we make better choices, maybe, hopefully. The final inner sheath is the Anandamaya kosha. This is the bliss body. So when our consciousness expands all the way there, then it's just pure joy. And then hopefully it reflects back. We are operating from pure joy to influence our discernment, to make sense of the world in our mind, to experience the physical body. So there are other ways also to take care of the mind, positive mental attitudes, being moderate with how much you put into your head and what you put into your head, especially today with all the different inputs that we have. There's just so much we can choose from. But that's also a way to bring the mind down and keep it calm so that it has space so that you can, so when, I'm sorry, when you're holding a lot of different information and flooding different information in, the mind races. When the mind races, the breath is also usually short, rapid, at 15 breaths per second, and energy is just down completely. When the breath slows, it's expanding consciousness. The mind also slows down. It stops racing. So when the breath is full and rhythmical, the mind calms. Yeah. Full rhythmical breath includes diaphragmic breathing. That diaphragmic breathing does a lot, including keeping our organs healthy. Just gives a better quality to the breath. before I go on, is there any questions about the three bodies, physical, subtle, cosmic? Yes?
Where does sorrow live in the sheets?
The interpretation, it's not something I'm really covering here. It's between the mental and the intellect, though this intellect is generally bringing proper discernment to the mental body, but the mental body is just representing what we're experiencing. So the mental body can interpret what we're experiencing as not so good and suffering. So a few breathing practices, probably going to cover more than just what I'm describing here. First is the natural breath. So even when we're born, as babies, our body knows how to breathe. The first thing it does is, after coughing, takes in a breath. Filling the abdomen, expanding the belly softening, natural way to breathe. But over time, sometimes even when we're really young, because of just life experience and tension, we start to hold the breath, or we start breathing shallow and fast. So we actually have to practice breathing naturally. Practice lower belly, diaphragm breathing. Practice letting the body breathe on its own. And it's really something you can do anytime, sitting, working on something, waiting in line at the store, in your car, just working in the garden. Always an opportunity to remember natural breath. Let the body breathe in a relaxed way. Creates and maintains a natural way to breathe. Massages the internal organs, diaphragm moving up and down. Reduces stress and tension. And helps maintain a relaxed body and mind. The next breath is the complete breath. The complete breath uses the entire lungs. So I'm almost going to bring a picture of the lungs. That's opens the chest, frees the breath, maintains a healthy diaphragm, creates rhythmic breathing, increases life energy by taking in more oxygen than normal, than shallow breathing, strengthens the heart and regulates blood pressure, revitalizes the blood, so taking more oxygen, more nutrients, gives abdominal muscle control, massages abdominal organs, promoting circulation and elimination, stimulates all physiological functions, reduces stress and anxiety, and develops a positive state of mind as the breath and mind are related, interrelated. And finally, when the rhythmical breath is maintained, the mind becomes calm. That rhythmical breath finds harmony with the body, because the body has its other rhythms, has its heart rhythms. When the breath is rhythmical, the body knows when oxygen's coming in, when it needs to expel carbon dioxide or other waste products. And so tension also releases there, because the body doesn't have to stress about, like, is that next breath of oxygen going to actually come, or are they holding their breath again? And so, two more practices that I think we do have time for. They are sun moon breath, which is alternate nostril breathing. Alternate nostril breathing helps balance the hemispheres of the brain. This, my teacher tells me that 10 minutes of alternate nostril breathing balances the brain, so that you're using both sides equally. The last practice is a concentration practice. I did not. Yes, I did. Nada Pashanti. Sound like concentration. Sound light concentration is a combination of visualizing auditorily, so hearing inside these two sounds, Om and Ah, and visualizing a light traveling through the spine from base to crown and then expanding out. On a very basic physical level, it is strengthening the mind. Visualization can be a very hard thing. Of course, very often it's easy, like you have a memory and you can totally see everything in a memory. But visualizing something new takes practice. And this is a very simple practice to visualize a light, visualize a sound, and synchronize it with your breath. But it can be harder than it seems. On an energetic level, you're also raising your energy into your consciousness and expanding it out. But if that's too much, just stay with strengthening mind. Okay. Any questions about the breathing practices we're going to do before we do that?
Not a question,
Yes.
but possibly from remembering something from my college or
Uh-huh.
college years. I started doing this. Even the Om and the Ah, and I learned it a long time ago and then forgot about it.
Uh-huh.
But it's come back to me, and
Cool.
and it kind of came easy to me. But partly because I got a diagram of the chakras and I put it on my bathroom mirror. And so I meditate on the chakras every day
Okay.
with breathing, and it is wonderful.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm obviously not going over chakras in this little seminar, but just to talk about the Om and the Ah. Om, mantra for universal energy. So we start that in our base, rise the energy up through our body to our crown chakra, and then the Ah, mantra for Shasrara chakra, which is the crown energy center, which represents universal consciousness. So the idea is not just tapping into your own intellect and what you know, but also tapping into a universal intellect, creativity, inspiration, things that you didn't occur to you yet. All right, so go get a chair. Sorry about the levels. Sitting level. So about sitting, you want to sit so that your hips are grounded and your feet are planted parallel sits-bone distance, which is not as wide as hip distance, depending on wide your hips, but if you feel these bony prominences in the front of your pelvis, and you make your knees that same width, that'll be parallel. You want your calves perpendicular to the earth so the knees are right over the ankles, and the spine is in natural alignment. Natural alignment is exhibiting those four natural curves. So when you're standing especially, you have the sacrum, which comes out, the lumbar, which goes in, the thoracic, which comes out again, and then the cervical neck, which goes in. With that natural alignment, the spine can stay lengthened. You don't feel like you're going to fall forward or fall back. Also, with the natural lumbar curve, the abdomen can be open, so you can breathe. Different chair. The hands can be on the thighs, palms up or down, and place your hands in Om Mudra. Om Mudra, thumb and index fingertips touch lightly, so not folding them, but just a light touch, creating a circle. The third, fourth, and fifth fingers extend out like feathers or sun rays. You might feel a little stretch in the palms of the hands. That opens up over time. You don't have to pull your fingers back necessarily, but you don't want them to be curling up with your index finger either. The shoulders are relaxed back and down. Actually, let's just do a little bit of shoulders. Move your shoulders back and up and forward and down, back and up and forward and down, back and up and forward and down, and reverse, forward and up and back and down, forward and up and back and down, forward and up and back and down, and leave them right there. Elbows beside the torso so that the elbows are heavy, drawing shoulders down towards hips. You could even pull your elbows a little bit towards your sides and feel your shoulder blades move closer to each other on the back and down, and then just release the effort, leaving your shoulder blades right there. The spine is elongating up out of the hips, natural alignment, head balanced on the spine. The eyes are closed and gently lifted to the inner gaze. It's just the space between the eyebrows. It's a gentle lifting, nothing extreme, kind of like looking at the sunset over the horizon. But the eyes stay relaxed like rafts floating on a lake. The mouth is closed, breathing through the nose, observing natural breath, body breathing on its own. On the inhale, air flows into the lower lungs and the belly expands. On the exhale, air flows out of the lower lungs and the belly softens. This is about getting out of the way of the breath, letting the breath move at its own speed. As air flows into the lower lungs, the belly expands and stretches. You might feel some tightness, either across the center or near the ribs or near the pelvis. Let the inhale come to a pause on its own. Exhale also begins on its own. Cushion of air flowing out until the cushion of air disappears. Exhale gently draws to a close. Let the inhale begin on its own. Letting the natural breath breathe like ocean waves rolling into shore. You roll up the sand, slow down and pause. Then gravity takes over and starts pulling the waves back into the ocean. Without hurry, it's just a natural shift. See if you can detect that shift. Let it happen without pushing ahead or making it happen. Double check your body, scan from head to toe. Is there a part of your body that's starting to tense or lift? Doesn't need to, just let it drop down. If your eyes started dropping down, bring them back up to the inner gaze. So each breath has two components. An inhale and an exhale in that order. Natural breath is a natural inhale followed by a natural exhale. The complete breath starts with the lungs empty, filling the lungs completely and then emptying the lungs completely. So we're going to practice a transition between the two. At the end of a natural exhale, squeeze the abdominal muscles in and pull the diaphragm up, pressing out all remaining air. Then release the muscles and let a natural breath flow in, expanding the belly from completely empty to the lower lungs full, belly stretching. Exhale, the belly softens without pressure, without effort. And once that cushion of air dissipates, squeeze abdominal muscles, pull the diaphragm up. Just applying the strength that we need only when we need to, maintaining relaxation in action. Transitioning to the complete breath, finishing a natural exhale, then squeezing out all remaining air, then complete breath begins. Inhale fills lower lungs first, then middle lungs, then upper lungs. Exhale is in reverse. Upper lungs empty first, then middle lungs, then lower lungs, then at the bottom, squeeze abdominal muscles and draw the diaphragm up, emptying lungs completely. Inhale fills lungs to maximum capacity without strain. Exhale empties lungs completely. Like the sense of ocean waves with the natural breath, inhale until you can't inhale any more air. The inhale will naturally come to a pause. Let the exhale begin on its own. Wait for that shift inside. Then ride the exhale out with as much ease as possible without pressing it. Only activating abdomen and the diaphragm at the end. Exhaling until you can't exhale any more air. Letting the inhale begin on its own. We're going to add a technique called Ujjayi, or victory breath. Victory breath is an aspirated ah sound near the back of the throat, and it sounds similar to wind rustling tree leaves or ocean waves rolling into shore. You can begin practicing victory breath with the mouth open, breathing an ah in on the inhale and an ah out on the exhale. Then halfway through an ah exhale, close the mouth but keep the ah going through the rest of the exhale and the next inhales and exhales. The air, the ah, is forward of the throat across the roof of the mouth. Victory breath helps slow down the air as it flows in and out of the lungs. Creates gentle resistance to help slow down the breath. That resistance also requires a little bit of extra abdominal engagement, abdominal strengthening, gently strengthening core. Warms the air as it draws into the lungs, helps smooth out the breath, and gives sensation and sound to the breath so that you can keep your mind focused on the breath, your awareness on the breath, not letting a single breath go by without awareness. union of awareness and breath, union of consciousness and energy. So in the chart had the 5 layers going from the most physical on the outside to the most subtle on the inside. Part of maintaining a relaxed body is also making the victory breath, this ah sound, very subtle so that you can clearly hear it between your ears, clearly feel it across the roof of your mouth. But you're not broadcasting it. It's a quiet sound between your ears, helping maintain a relaxed body even on a subtle level. With the body relaxed, the energy body can expand more deeply into the more subtler layers, clearing the mind, connecting with inspiration, higher wisdom and knowledge. Practicing a rhythmical, balanced breath, Samatha Vayu, you can count the breath. Variation 1, aiming for the length of the exhale to equal the length of the inhale. So you can count the number of seconds it takes to inhale and attempt to match that count on the exhale. I'll guide a few rounds first with 6 seconds, 1 second being labeling the breath, the other 5 seconds the count. Exhaling air, emptying lungs completely. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On your own. If you have greater lung capacity, you can lengthen the count, lengthen the breath. A 6-second count is already amazing. That's only 5 breaths per minute. Maintain a steady count. Don't speed up or slow down the count to make it fit. Don't speed up or slow down the breath either. Just note where you ended if it's not synchronizing yet and try to adjust on the next breath. Utilizing victory breath, Ujjayi, maintain a smooth, steady breath without speeding up or slowing down. With the breath at a steady speed, you'll notice that the volume and pitch of victory breath, that ah sound, stays constant through the inhale and then constant through the exhale. Another way to draw the tension inside. Maintaining the relaxed, complete breath, maintaining a balanced breath. We're going to add the practice, Surya Chandra, sun-moon breath, or alternate nostril breathing. We're going to use our thumb and ring fingers to close off the nostrils. The index and middle finger can either be folded into the palms, or they can be placed as an anchor between the eyebrows, whatever works for you. Make sure that the shoulders, the spine, the head stay centered and lifted. You're bringing your hand to your head, not your head to your hand. Finishing an exhale, closing off the right nostril, inhale through the left side. Top of inhale, close off left nostril, exhale through right side. Inhale through right side. Close off right nostril, exhale through left side. That makes one round. Continue rounds. Inhale, switch, exhale. Inhale, switch, exhale. If one nostril is really, really stuffed and you're having problems, you can just return to complete breath. Still maintaining a balanced, full breath. Inhale fills lungs from bottom to top. Exhale empties lungs from top to bottom, always squeezing out all remaining air at the end. Maintain alignment of the body. Next time you finish the exhale through the left nostril, release the hand and observe the complete breath through both nostrils. Breath is still full and balanced. Practicing Nada Pashanti, sound light concentration. Visualizing brilliant white light at the base of the spine, hearing an inner sound of Om. Inhale, the light rises through the spine to the crown of the head. Hearing an inner sound of Ah. Exhale, light brightens, expands in all directions and surrounds the body. Inhale, Om, light rising through the spine from base to crown. Exhale, Ah, light brightens, expands in all directions, and surrounds the body. Synchronizing visualization to the complete breath, strengthening mind. At the end of the next complete exhale, release abdominal muscles, return to natural breath, body breathing on its own, quiet mind. Bringing your awareness back into the room, the sounds in the room, the sensations in your body. With your next exhale, gently open the eyes. So when the body is relaxed, the breath full and rhythmical, the mind automatically calms. You can move into those more subtler realms, access deeper wisdoms, and it naturally wants to go there. So meditation, by following this systematic practice, the mind naturally finds that calm, still place, easier to let go of thoughts. Thank you so much for coming. I'd love to hear if you have any more questions, or if you want to just say the experiences you have from this little practice. Kelly?
So I was nice and calm until we did the alternate nasal thing, and then I got this sharp kind of pain down right in the middle of my spine in the back. Is it because my hand was in the wrong space? I switched hands to make it
That
go
would be
away.
my guess. And if you do it in the future, you can take either a couple of yoga block props or a pillow and let your elbow rest on it. That way, because holding up the arm,
Okay,
especially
I just have weak arms, is what you're saying.
yeah, we only did like 3 minutes or so, though it might have seemed like ages longer of the alternate nostril breathing. But I mean, to do 10 minutes with your arm up, that could be a bit.
Okay.
Anybody else? Questions or want to share your experience?
It just seemed at the beginning that it was hard to keep all the parts because I was thinking about it. I was thinking about get your feet here, get your back there, get your shoulders someplace else, and it was just contrary to what my body does naturally. It took a while to seem like my body fell into the right position.
Right. Yeah, that's actually really great too, because there's all these different things between feet and hips and spine and eyes and hands and proper order of breath. The mind has no time to think about, well, what am I doing after this and tomorrow morning and that. It's like, there's no space. Yes.
Well, I know that I can't put my feet on the ground
Mm-hmm.
because I have short legs.
Okay. A pillow?
Yeah.
Or, I can...
Oh, that would work.
Great, yeah, these are kind of, one size fits not too many. But in my chair yoga class, I give my students a pair of blocks, people with really short calves, and they put their feet right on the block, so it's just literally bringing the ground, flat ground up to them.
Would it be better to be in a flat chair, because this one's kind of tilted a little bit? This doesn't seem like a flat chair to me.
Okay, this isn't, and if you're sitting way back, it's kicking you back. Might not have seen it from where you were, but I was sitting on the edge. So making this chair work, sitting on the edge, because what you want is the hips to tilt forward.
I can feel the difference, okay.
And some chairs are definitely not going to accommodate that. Yes.
I learned to do that in college,
Uh-huh.
and I found the alternate nostril breathing so difficult then that I just gave up even trying to do that, whereas I have used the other forms of breathing, just not with the chakra meditation. But this time it was much easier. I'm guessing it's because I had allergies when I was in college, and over the years I have less allergies.
That can
But
definitely help.
also your teaching might have helped make it easier, but really it started out seeming a little bit hard and it got easier as I went on until I realized that it really was doing something good in here.
Cool.
Here.
You felt the kind of little
Balance. I felt the balance coming. And I'm so glad I got a chance to try it again when I had thought, this isn't for me, it's not working.
Beautiful. Did anyone else during the alternational breathing feel that kind of shift where the mind just felt like it dropped down or settled down just a little bit?
Oh, I felt energy.
I don't know when it happened, but it happened, and I felt this relaxation kind of fully come in, and my mind sort of just kind of not be so tense. And so,
Awesome.
yeah.
And
Oh, I was just gonna say, I did a yoga nidra training
Yes.
just a day, and but they said one of the things they kind of recommended or taught was put your feet up the wall and do the alternate nostril for total relaxation and just to be able to let go. And y'all love that pose.
beautiful. Yeah, feet up the wall really helps the hips release. Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody.
I
Oh,
just want to say that
yes.
you have an amazing soothing voice.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for your energy tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.